Artificial intelligence isn't just changing how service companies operate, it's changing how customers buy. Companies that rely on outdated sales tactics or slow follow-up may find themselves losing business before they even know that they were being considered. So, to dig into our topic, I'm pleased to welcome regular guest John Clendenning to the program. John, good to have you back.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jeff.
Is your summer humming along nice and cool up there in Canada, or are you spending time in the pool?
It's we had a couple of heat waves. We're gonna have some 90, 95 days. So yeah, so we do go to minus 30 in the dead of winter and then 95 to 100 in the middle of summer. So we got to deal with it.
Now, that's a range for sure. So, well, let's talk about a range of marketing ideas and
Yeah.
how AI is changing things. And I'm going to give you an easy question to start with. Your answer can't be yes. You have to dig deeper. Here we go.
Okay.
Has AI changed how customers choose service providers?
And I can't say yes, just yes. Yeah, absolutely. We go back to January of 2025, about 1% of the population knew what a chat GPT was, used it, asked a question. Um, Fast forward to March, well, starting in March of 2025, you and I did a 2 day intensive on showing people, hey, this is coming down the train tracks. It's barreling at you. Deal with it, right? You're starting to see the light on the horizon, but it's coming fast. By March of this year, about 50-60% of all searches are conversational with AI giving an answer of some sort, right? People don't type in keywords. They don't go carpet cleaner near me anywhere near as much. So cleaners still call me every day. Well, I'm not ranking really well for, can you guys help us? And I'm going, yeah, you're not ranking for something that people aren't even looking for anymore. So yes, it's the way people are getting search is way up. This is the point because people are actually getting good answers. People will use something if they get the answer that feels right. So Google's always tried to be that, but you had to go to, deep pages and a lot of reading. Now it's like it'll read it for you and spit out an answer. You can ask a question back again and dial in. And the conversation has changed the entire way consumers are using, are finding answers, which includes service providers, and it changes the entire way service providers should be marketing themselves to be the head of that list.
I know, John, when not too long ago, when you go on to Google or whatever search engine you're using, probably Google, you had to click, click, click your way to an answer. And now
Mm.
I've heard the term no click internet,
Zero click search. Yeah,
zero
another
click.
way of saying it. Yeah.
So th
Yeah.
things are changing. So, with that in mind, if people are just going to maybe do a prompt and then they're going to get information, let's talk about something I've heard called social proof,
Okay.
the online reviews, reputation, authentic brand identities. How is AI making it easier for customers to do those comparisons?
Way easy. So the way to think of AI is even Google's AI. So ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, whatever you want to use. There's a whole GenSparks. There's all kind of million ways. Or if you just go into Google and you start typing something, that AI mode is right there. It's taking over. And what is trying to be, all of this is just trying to be as authentic as it possibly can, saying, hey, if I really had to go search for this for real, the best I know is a machine, what would I do? That wouldn't be targeting keywords. That wouldn't just be reading Google reviews. That wouldn't be. So it knows and it's learning and it's adapting all the time, but it knows that when people talk about stuff on Reddit, when people talk about stuff in social media, when a brand is mentioned over here and over here and over here and over here, positively or negatively, that's impactful. It doesn't need to be babysat with backlinks. It doesn't need you to say, "Oh, on this site, put a backlink up there," because it doesn't need any of that. It goes and finds it without that. It finds brand mentions. If you've built a brand identity, you can anchor that brand identity well, just good tactical stuff. And then you can uh, entice the marketplace to have conversations about you in a positive light. And if you can perpetuate some of those conversations in the marketplace that can feed this engine, we call them happy customer stories. But if you can do these kinds of things and socialize all of that, you can start creating that buzz that you and I have talked about for a couple of episodes now. kind of like it's not much. It's like how grandpa ran the business, how dad ran the business, is how we got to do it. We got to be authentic in the real world marketplace and in the digital marketplace. We've got to be telling stories, educating the public about how to take care of this and how to plan for that and all that good stuff that we always knew we needed to do. Well, now that's what AI is actually looking for, is that content and people's engagement with it.
You mentioned like being mentioned on Reddit. Now,
Yep.
if I own Jeff's Carpet Cleaning here in Ohio, I doubt if I'm being discussed on Reddit. So what do
So
you mean by that?
Reddit, yeah. So Reddit, because so what I mean by so Reddit may not actually. Quora is another one. People ask questions on Quora, you answer them, kind of idea. So Google just took away. So May 8th, Google changed their entire algorithm all over again, right? So they do this how many times? Like sometimes they do the wholesale change. Sometimes they do Penguin and Panda updates and stuff to get rid of spam. This was a wholesale change on May 8th, right? So, and they got rid of one of the things that they got rid of sort of the ability to write questions, FAQs in your Google business profile. And they said, we're just going to find them ourselves and post them there. Sorry about your luck, right? And those kinds of things. So do people go and have a conversation on Reddit? Well, you'd be surprised at the Reddit crowd and how big Reddit can actually be. But it's, do people talk on Judy's book? Do people talk on Nextdoor? Do people talk on Facebook? Do like all of these places is like, where is that conversation potentially happening? Could it happen? Where is AI turning its attention to try and look and see? And can you start a conversation there? Can you be authentic there? Can you try, again, people aren't talking about septic tank cleaners. They're not talking about carpet cleaners on an ongoing daily basis. You're not going to get, 150 interactions on, the best way to get dog pee out of a carpet, right? But, if you're a florist and the best, centerpiece for a wedding, everybody would talk about it, right? It could go viral. So we're not in that industry, but can we make, little moments that get picked up in the right place? And there's a hierarchy. Start with the best ones first, right? And work your way farther down the list, to just have a bit of buzz going on in the digital world and have a bit of buzz going on in the real world, and let the two tie together by real people making real comments on real things.
So as you talk about that, the word aggregate comes to mind where
Okay.
like AI just kind of sees it all and then puts together the story that could connect you with customers.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. I want to talk about in the past with SEO, people were keyword stuffing. They were just
Mm.
putting stuff on their website. The bottom of the website, I heard of some taking a whole bunch of words and turning it white and putting it on white so no one would see it,
Yep.
but they were there. They were trying to manipulate SEO.
Yes.
Can the same be happening with social proof?
Can you influence it? Yes. Can you manipulate it harder and harder and harder because AI is smarter and faster? That's why you don't even need backlinks anymore. So Google's always wanted to make it pure platform that the consumer, the user, the viewer gets the best answer the quickest. That way, Ask Jeeves is no longer in business. That way, people don't use, Yahoo. And it becomes they become the monopoly, the go-to as best they possibly can, right? So that's always been the goal. Because then they can sell it. They can sell the eyeballs. They make their money by selling the marketing the eyeballs to everybody else. So yes, can you manipulate it? Nowhere near as much, because AI is so much smarter and faster, and it's twice as smart and fast as it was 3 months ago. And it's going to be, this is the worst it's ever going to be in our lifetime. It's going to be twice as fast in another 3 months or half that period of time, infinitely faster. So it is able to outgame you, where the old rules might have worked for a couple of years. 10,000 backlinks from Russia was a great way to rank a website in 2002. By 2005, you would be completely delisted. But then keyword stuffing, then microsites, then like it was a game until it wasn't, right? Penguin and Panda updates did that. The update of May 8th, the change in that was you could have content on your website about upholstery cleaning. If it is not materially beneficial to the marketplace, Google doesn't just derank it, it just doesn't list it. So if everybody has the same content, but if you have content about, hey, I remember when I was a kid and blah, 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 and I did this, so I got into carpet cleaning because of that. And oh, by the way, blah, 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 upholstery cleaning. And, if you live down near Cat's Creek and it has that red clay mud we all know, well, that takes a very special enzyme to clean properly. So that's something that we do very expertly. Now, if that's your page or your blog post on upholstery cleaning, is that unique content? Is that authentic? Is that real? Yes. And AI loves it because you're being a real person. Now, do you have to write it by hand like you and I would? No, you could have AI help you and assist to get that content out, right? So, but you want it to be a personalized story.
Okay. Last question. Now, this is good stuff. Thank you for sharing. Buyers expect quick responses. They're in a hurry. If it doesn't come up quick and what they need, they're moving on. They want personalized communication. Maybe it's a machine, but it needs to feel personal. Am I correct?
Yeah, I'm a people first at all
Okay.
times. So I like Nancy to still answer the phone at the office, right? I don't think
Right.
AI is going to replace your job. I think somebody who knows AI is going to replace the job of somebody who doesn't, right? So we still want, but if the phones are overwhelmed, it's a busy day. What do we normally do? We roll over to a voicemail anyways, an answer machine. Don't roll over to an agentic AI system or after hours in the evening. Let them know, hey, this is a virtual assistant here to help you. All of our staff are currently tied up or right now, or it's after hours and not available. I can help you with just about any question you have. Hit me up, shoot, be friendly, all that. So you can still answer right away. If a text message comes in and nobody, or like a messenger message or a website message, and nobody comes back to that within about 20 seconds, it should ping on somebody's computer and they should be right away. We know people want quick answers to emails and text messages and stuff like that. Then have the AI allowed to jump in where you can take over from them. And its own job is not to try and book the job for you, because now how is it going to be influencing and selling and not commoditize you? So its job is to get either hand off to a real person or on what's the best time for somebody to call you back? I'll let Nancy in the office know, and she can give you a call back between 1 and 1:15.
Okay. So actually, this is my last question now.
Okay.
How big a company do we need to be to do all that? Like a one-man operator who
Yeah.
wants 4 jobs a day probably doesn't need to
Yeah.
do all that. Is there a certain size you'd say you need to get on board and really ramp up everything we've talked about today?
Yeah. I'd say the one man operator knows how to hustle to stay busy. Kevin Cluth talked about this, and Mark Sager on that thing last year. Really, really good information on how you still need to hustle. Like again, you want to do it like Dad did it or like Grandpa. Sorry, Mark, but you're a few years older than you. I'm going to call you Grandpa for this episode. But yeah, like that's how you do it, and that's how you still do it to this day. So does the guy who wants one guy in a truck? Well, if he's not answering his phone within about 2 or 3 rings, have some human answering your phone, not you, so you can be in front of the customer, and then have the backup with something like an AI, right? So hire a stay-at-home mom to answer your phone, stuff like that. It still has to be human authentic, I believe, first. And then again, chats and stuff like that. They're all easy to do nowadays. As far as the writing the content, yeah, I think you should be telling happy customer stories. And if you did one a week, of hey, I saw this customer, here's what we did, and you post that on your website and social media, that would be you working on your business while working in it, and you're bridging that gap.
All right, good stuff. I guess we'll have to do this again in a week or so
There you go. There's a
because
lot to talk
everything's
about.
changing. It is amazing how things are changing, John. Keep
Yes.
keep your eye on things and keep us informed.